Okay, boys, welcome to LJG Sports. Today we're going to go over CBS Sports NBA mock draft. This was done June 16th, so a couple of days ago. It is by Matt Norlander, so shout out to Matt Norlander. We're just going to go over it, give my 2 cents on the players, team fits, whether the players are going too high, too low, what I just think about this draft overall. So let's get straight into it. Number one, as the surprise to absolutely no one, they have the Mavericks taking Cooper Flagg. Again, after Nico Harrison did what he did this past deadline, we don't know what the Mavericks are going to do, but that city will go up in flames if they do not take Cooper Flagg number one. I think number 1 and 2 are really locked in, regardless of if the Spurs trade out of the 2 spot. I feel like number 1 and 2 are set as far as the players. Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper will be drafted 1 and 2. So Cooper Flagg going number 1. Obviously, one of the more hyped up prospects in a while. A very good all-around player. Played really well at Duke and one of the better seasons ever in college history. But coming up short in the tournament. But, he shot really well at the 3-point line. Something he didn't. A lot of people didn't think he would do. Averaged 19 points per game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. A great all-around player who's a great defender, which I think that will translate immediately. And so the Mavericks are getting him, along with they have AD now, they have Gafford still, Lively, Irving hopefully will come back later in the year, Klay Thompson. Mavericks are a really good team, and it'll be really fun to watch them next year, especially with Cooper Flagg now. At number 2, like I said, Dylan Harper. I think there's a possibility the Spurs trade out of this pick. Either for a star or just they don't really need another guard. But I think overall, I'm about 80%, 90% sure the Spurs will pick Dylan Harper here at 2. And again, if they do trade out of the pick, I think whoever's trading up is trading up for Dylan Harper because he is the clear number 2 in this draft. I think he would go number 1 in a lot of other previous drafts. Like last year, I think he would have gone number 1 easy. But he's number 2 this year because of Cooper Flagg. Great prospect. Averaged almost 20 points as a freshman at Rutgers. 6'5", 6'6", big combo guard who can play point guard and shooting guard. The really only knock on him is his 3-point shooting, which he shot 33.3% at Rutgers last year. And it's not like his form is terrible. His release point could be a little higher. But I think a lot of his shot selections definitely weighed it down. But if he can get just to below average, like around 35, 36%, he will be definitely fine. And he will have a 12-plus year career in the NBA for sure. The Spurs, again, they already have guards like De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, but I feel like they have to take him because he is clearly the second best player in this draft. And Dylan Harper 2, Cooper Flagg 1. It's always been that. It's never been anything else. The draft really starts at number 3. Ace Bailey to the Sixers at 3. This is interesting because Ace Bailey has not been meeting with teams or something. I think he just met with the Sixers. I could be wrong. Let me know down in the comment section below if I am, but who knows? There's been stuff about his agent and how he doesn't want to schedule meetups with teams if he's not there, so who knows what's going on there. Ace Bailey, a really raw prospect who has a lot of potential. Potentially the highest ceiling of any player in this draft. A lot of people likened him to Kevin Durant. I kind of see that, but I think there are some differences. In particular to Ace Bailey's shot selection, and I don't think he's as good of a shooter or as tall as Kevin Durant. But athletic, long, 6'8". People were thinking he's closer to 6'10". So when he came out that he was 6'8", it was a little disappointing, but still great long wing who can do a lot, who can score. And it really just comes down to his consistency. We'll see how that translates in the NBA, but again, really, really high ceiling. A safer prospect here at number 4, the Hornets taking Trey Johnson. I love this pick. I feel like a lot of mock drafts, I should say, have VJ Edgecombe going to the Hornets at 4. But I feel like Trey Johnson overall is the better prospect. I think better shooter, longer, taller, and just a safer option in general. Maybe not as athletic, but still very athletic. Maybe not as good of a defender, but I just feel like his offensive stability, and the thing with Trey Johnson is like you can use Trey Johnson and players like Trey Johnson on every team in the NBA. Every team in the NBA needs a wing who has good size, who can defend, who can shoot the three, and can drive to the basket. And Trey Johnson does that excellently. So he goes to 4 to the Hornets. VJ Edgecombe, the player I was just talking about, he goes 5 to the Jazz. And I really feel like these are the top 5 guys. I'd be really surprised if these aren't the 5 names named after pick 5, because, and it can be in any order. I feel like 1 and 2 are locks, and then I wouldn't be surprised if Ace Bailey falls all the way to 5. But VJ Edgecombe, Trey Johnson, Ace Bailey, they're all going to go 3 through 5, I think. And I'd be really surprised if it doesn't end up that way. Next, we have the Wizards, who are getting Con Kneppel. Con Kneppel is a really good prospect. I think one of the safer prospects in this draft, the best three-point shooter, the safest three-point shooter, a really good all-around player who can play secondary ball handler on a team, who can rebound the ball at a decent rate for his size, who can throw the right pass and make the right decision when needed. Offensively, Kneppel is just, I feel like he'll translate so well. I don't think his ceiling is that high, but his floor is pretty high, and that's, I feel like, really good. I feel like, again, another player who can just really fit on any team, because every team needs a guy like Con Kneppel. And the CBS Sports have the Wizards picking him up, which would be a great addition. Kasparas Jakachonis, I don't know if I'm saying that name right. He goes 7 to the Pelicans. This is pretty high for Kasparas. I'm just going to call him Kasparas, because I feel like, especially because the Pelicans have DeJounte Murray, maybe they feel like they're going to get rid of him. Or I know he's injured for at least half of next year, I believe. But I feel like with Kasparas, there's a lot of question marks to his game. He has great size and great feel for the game. But there were just a lot of games where he just did not show up in the way that you feel a top 10 guy should show up consistently. His shooting was lackluster. It's definitely a swing for it move if the Pelicans drafted him at 7, but I think a little too high just because of the inconsistency. But again, if it works out and he does turn into a Luka Doncic-esque type of player, I mean, it would end up being a great pick. So definitely high upside for Kasparas. Kaman Malawach at 8 to the Nets. I love this pickup for the Nets. I think Malawach should definitely go higher than 8. He is, again, we talked about it with Trey Johnson, another prototype of player that every NBA team needs. A backup big man, or just a big man in general, who can block, who can score off the alley-oop, who can get offensive rebounds, and who can defend. Malawach is 7'1", 253. He is long. I believe his standing reach, I heard, is apparently taller than Victor Wembanyama's, but I think obviously Victor Wembanyama's measurements are a little skewed. But the fact that it's even close, like, that's really good. He'll fit in, again, almost anywhere. The Nets pick him up here would be a great addition. And he'll definitely get playing time for a Nets team that will probably be one of the worst teams next year, unless they do something crazy this offseason. But I don't think this is offseason they'll do anything. At number 9, Jeremiah Fears to the Raptors. Again, this is another one. I'm not too high on Jeremiah Fears. 6'3", 180. He cannot shoot. He can do everything else pretty well. And I get why people like him, but I just don't see. I feel like when his measurements came out, he was shorter than people thought. And he's just not a great scorer. In college he did. But his shooting and the way he did score in college, I don't think is necessarily going to translate to the NBA. Me personally, I think he can be a decent player one day, especially if he gets his shot down. But Jeremiah Fears top 10 is a no for me, especially the Raptors take him here. Like, why would the Raptors need to take Jeremiah Fears? To me, the Rockets, the team coming up, makes a lot of sense. But especially if they get rid of Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green. But now, Jeremiah Fears, a guy I'm not really high on. I hope he proves me wrong, and I wish him well. Carter Bryant to the Rockets. Carter Bryant has been going up on people's draft boards, and I get why. He did not have as much of an opportunity to play at Arizona like a lot of other guys did. But in the limited role that he had, he shot well from three. Good 6'7", long, rangy defender. Just another wing who can defend, score, and shoot the three, which every NBA team needs. And I think teams are getting high on Carter Bryant because of the upside factor, where we didn't even see what he could do fully at Arizona because they didn't use him in the way that possibly he could have been to his potential. But I like that pick. It's a kind of a risky pick just because we didn't see much from him, so maybe inconsistencies will show up once he gets more playing time. But I like that pickup for the Rockets. Carter Bryant at 10, Derek Queen at 11. And I've been noticing this with a lot of draft boards where Derek Queen is sliding, and I don't know why. Yes, I get there's questions about his defense, and for a 6'9" center, you kind of need that, and his shot blocking is in question. He's 248 pounds, but his offensive prowess and the way he can score and his basketball IQ, he should be a top 10 pick in my mind. Definitely over Jeremiah Fears, probably over Carter Bryant in my opinion. And I know team needs go into this and stuff, but I feel like Derek Queen's a really good prospect, and if he can get just a little better at shooting the three, then he will be a problem in the NBA, whether it's as center or power forward or whatever. At pick 12, Noah Essengu from France. I don't know much about him. I know he can't shoot, or he didn't shoot well. He's a tall power forward who has high potential. I know a lot of mocks had the Spurs getting him, but I would say just stay away from it just because I feel like there's other things we need. But I think he should go a little lower. I don't think he's a lottery pick in my mind. Like I said, I haven't done as much research on him as I would like to, but I don't think he's a lottery pick. I think there's guys better. Igor Demin, definitely not one of them. Another guy, he's a lot similar to Kasparis, where they're almost similar in the sense that they're long point guards who can score and cannot shoot. I think Igor had higher expectations coming to the season, but he did not play that well, or as well as people would have liked. And just inconsistent. Again, could be another do-it-all, long, tall point guard, but I don't think he's lottery worthy either. And then the last lottery pick, the Spurs have Asa Newell, power forward from the Hawks. From the Hawks. The Hawks pick was 14. Sorry, messed that up. From Georgia. Asa Newell, I like Asa Newell. I think he's lottery for sure. And I get why the Spurs would take him if he fell this far. But I like someone like Thomas Sorber even more, who I feel like would be a better shot blocker and could play that backup center spot, which Asa Newell can too, but I feel like his natural position is power forward, and the Spurs desperately need a center, so. But I would definitely not be mad if Asa Newell fell to 14 to the Spurs. And then we'll just round out the rest of these picks. Danny Wolf to the Thunder at 15. I think that's going to happen. I think it's a great pick. Colin Murray-Bowles, he should be a lottery pick to the Grizzlies at 16. He should definitely go lottery, in my opinion. A great defender who can, if he can get a shot, he will be one of the best players from this draft. Jace Richardson, I feel like he's been falling off draft boards just because of his size, but great scorer, great offensive player. Cedric Coward, he's been rising up draft boards. He had not played that much, but I get why people like him. A lot similar to Carter Bryant. Wing who can shoot, who can defend, who's long. Every team needs him. Liam McNeely, I feel like he should go lottery. I don't think he will. I think he'll go just outside the lottery. Did not shoot as well as he would have liked, obviously, at UConn, but teams still see him as a three-point shooter, a really good three-point shooter. So I'm going to trust teams and look at that 31.7% three-point percentage and say, it'll hopefully translate and he'll get better in the NBA level. Nick Clifford, another wing who shot the ball well, similar to Carter Bryant. Every team needs him. I feel like he'll go around this range, around the 20, 23, maybe even like 18 range. Walter Clayton Jr. at pick 21. That's a little high for me. I think obviously a good offensive player, but he is quite small, and I don't know if he'll translate his game to the NBA like teams think he will. Joan Berringer to the Hawks at 22. Noah Penda at pick 22. Nolan Traore from France to the Thunder at pick 24. Thomas Sorber. This is the guy I like. And I don't think he'll go lottery, but I really hope the Spurs pick him at 14. Great defender, long, rangy defender who can, if he switched, can guard other positions pretty well, and who can get rebounds, great rebounder, and who can be a lob threat on the offensive end. Again, a center that everyone needs nowadays. Ryan Kalkbrenner going to the Nets at 26. Ben Seraph at pick 27. I've seen him fall and slide down draft boards. Drake Powell, I feel like he's an interesting prospect. I do think he'll go around this range, but it could end up being a great pickup for the Celtics here at 28. Maxime Reynaud, I feel like I've seen a lot of Spurs fans want Maxime Reynaud. I prefer someone like Thomas Sorber more, but his offensive skill set for a 7-footer is very interesting, but I feel like we already have that with Victor, so that's why I feel like we should go after someone like Thomas Sorber instead, or Kaman Malawach, but definitely interesting prospect, Maxime Reynaud, and Will Riley at pick 32, the Clippers, and that rounds out this mock draft. Overall, pretty good. I feel like some players were going higher than they should, but on draft night, that will more likely happen than not. And it's just my take on these prospects. I don't know, just like every other analyst, executive, doesn't know how these players will be in the future. We're all taking just educated guesses. Let me know down below what you agree with, what you disagree with in the comments down below, whether it's with me or whether it's with the CBS Sports mock draft. Let me know who's your favorite prospects, who do you want your favorite team to draft. Let me know down below in the comment section.